Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Minette Michelle Davis Jackson, also known as Kaya Eve, the mother of all living, the wife and queen and ambassador of Mighty God Ahaya, I am that I am. I'm also Sarah and King David resurrected. In this segment, we're going to freestyle talking about technology to get an understanding of what Mighty God Ahaya is doing. Even though Mighty God Ahaya word tells us that the wise of this world will not find out from the beginning to the end what he is doing, Mighty God Ahaya still give us an analogy, parables, examples of what he is doing. For example, we know that Mighty God Ahaya placed a portal of heaven on earth called the Garden of Eden. Mighty God Ahaya also placed a portal of the pit of hell on earth as well. And as many of you have been following this gospel of resurrection into life eternal, you have heard me say many of times that we are in a hollow place mentioned in the book of Enoch, one of the hollow places where the guilty, the ungodly, have not been judged that are being judged. And many of you been asking the question, how is this to be? Because we had come from the real world, Mighty God Ahaya had put everyone to sleep while he rested after the 6th-day creation. Let's talk about the cell phone technology to help you get an understanding of what Mighty God Ahaya is doing. Mighty God Ahaya give us many experiences where we can experience to learn of him both inside and out. Now the cell phone, mostly everyone has a cell phone. And on your cell phone, you have some pages that were pre-filled. Whenever you want to make a new page, what you hold down and then click on create new page, the new page look exactly like the front page, the home page on your cell phone. And that is exactly how Mighty God Ahaya is doing from a broader, bigger view. When he says that you are already at home, the sinners up in the lake of sulfur and brimstone, he created, for an example, a page called DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone. And that zone is where you are not in the home place, but in a temporary place, separating the private network from the public network. So that, again, when people that are not Judah and Israel can access the demilitarized zone to get whatever app or information or knowledge they need. And that is an analogy or parable what Mighty God Ahaya is doing as far as earth is concerned. Many people don't understand when I say we're in the pit of hell at the lowest dimension of earth, but in a hollow place. And that's, again, creating the new pages on your cell phone and putting new apps on that new page on your cell phone is similar to how Mighty God Ahaya created the 7 shadow copies of earth. I call them virtual realities. And many of the internet and technology gurus, they understand about virtual reality and dumb terminals and the demilitarized zone. So again, this temporary hollow place, Mighty God Ahaya, like he mentioned to you, that he have you in a temporary place on his cell phone, and he can easily drag and drop your asses in a lake of fire because you're in a demilitarized zone. You're in a temporary zone. You're not on the home network or the new heaven, and you are actually in the pit of hell, up in the lake of fire, but we're upside down, so the sun is actually down where the kidneys are. And you know, as I mentioned before, the function of the kidneys. They process the poop and pee-pee. And all the sinners that have not been judged being judged, going back to the SUN, they are the kidneys. They are the shit consumers. Since they like to eat all unclean foods, mentioned in Leviticus 11. And even though Mighty God Ahaya preach and yell and say, hey, don't eat the pork, shrimp, lobster, horse, dog, and all this cat and mice and rat they eating these things anyway. So since they like to eat this shit, Mighty God Ahaya has changed their diet and their blood to consume all the pee-pee and doo-doo in the lake of fire for the entire kingdom of heaven, all those with the mark of the beast, marked for their second death. So I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to give you an example using your cell phone, what Mighty God Ahaya is doing when he extract the bad from the earth and sending them back to the sun, the unquenchable lake of fire. Like I say, he can create a page on his cell phone and call it the lake of fire. He can create a page on his cell phone called heaven. He can create a page and call it anything, but the page will still look like the home page. So that's why in this dimension, it looks like the real world we came from, because it's a mirror upside down image, a virtual reality image. Many of the sinners who's marked for death are in a strong delusion. And many of Judah and Israel are partly spiritually blind. And I thank Mighty God Ahaya that I'm partially spiritually blind, because the real world we came from is really fucked up. I mean, it looks terrible. And if you've seen the movie Matrix, when they woke up out of the Matrix, you saw how their real world looked. And that's basically how it really looks. But again, Mighty God Ahaya created the new heavens and the new earth ready for the righteous. And the children of heaven, when Mighty God Ahaya bring heaven down to the new earth, the children of heaven will come down with him, and we will be joined with them. We will become quickening spirits in our new glorified angelic bodies. And again, Mighty God Ahaya in John 1, he sent a third of his angels, we angels, and transformed us into humans, so that we can try to rehabilitate those that were perishing up in the SUN. And so again, in Matthew chapter 13, that goes over the seesaw parable and the wheat and tare parable, explains exactly what we went through while trying to rehabilitate the sinners. They didn't listen. All they did was abuse us, like in the Cinderella theme. And we're back at the beginning. And like I said, this whole thing can be summarized by 3 boys, Noah's boys, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. I know you went to church all your life in this dimension. I went to church all my life in this dimension, worshiping the white Jesus that I didn't know. I thought that was my Heavenly Father until he had awakened me and drawn me to him. And I know truth now. So, like I said, this is the resurrection. The enemy had told a lot of people the resurrection had passed, but we are in the midst of it. So, I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to explain to you how Mighty God Ahaya can place heaven on earth as well as hell is on earth. He can place as many of the planets he created a portal on earth. Even the sun, the moon, and the stars, and they have portals that they go in and out. The sun come up in the west, and the sun go down in the west, come up in the east. They're going through portals. They're going through portals to show up in the west or the east, the north or the south. So, and again, this is listed in the book of Enoch if you're interested in listening to the book of Enoch. Mighty God Ahaya, my assignment, he had me to re-record the King James Version Bible, the book of Jubilees, the book of Asher, the Apocrypha, the Forgotten Books of Eden, the book of Wisdom, the book of Sirach, and many other books that's on my YouTube channel under the name Submit, SUBMIT, the number 2S. He had me to re-record many of the gospel with his name, Ahaya, I am that I am, and with his son's name, my husband, Yeshaya, who is Mighty God Ahaya in the flesh. Mighty God Ahaya, I am that I am, in Adam, they are as one. And if you had listened to 1 Corinthians about the resurrection, when it is sown and when it is raised. So again, I just want to thank you for listening, and I'm not going to make it too long. I just basically wanted to give you an understanding of what Mighty God Ahaya is doing and where we are on this temporary hollow place, and how you can compare what he's doing with your cell phone. Just like you can drag and drop an app to the trash, he can drag and drop you in the trash as well. Thank you for listening.